The Battle of the Hydaspes, fought in 326 BCE, marked a significant clash between Alexander the Great's Macedonian army and the forces of King Porus on the banks of the Hydaspes River, now known as the Jhelum River in modern-day Pakistan. This battle is pivotal not only because it showcased Alexander's formidable military strategies, but also because it represented the farthest extent of his conquests in the East, highlighting the cultural intersections and the limits of ancient empires. The significance of the Battle of the Hydaspes is deeply tied to its demonstration of tactical genius. Alexander's use of feints and diversions, crossing the river under the cover of night and surprising the Indian forces, is often cited as a masterpiece of ancient military maneuvers. This encounter solidified Alexander's reputation as an invincible general and extended his influence into the Indian subcontinent, paving the way for increased interactions between Greek and Indian cultures. A real-world application of the strategies employed in this battle can be seen in modern military tactics that emphasize surprise and adaptability. Moreover, this battle stands as a historical precedent for the integration of foreign troops, as seen in Alexander's incorporation of Indian elephants and soldiers into his army post-victory, reflecting early forms of military diversity and fusion. The battle also portrays Alexander's diplomatic acumen. By reinstating Porus as a satrap, Alexander effectively quelled potential unrest and ensured loyalty from local populations. This strategy of appeasement by power sharing has parallels in contemporary foreign policy, where maintaining stability often involves supporting local leadership rather than direct governance. However, the Battle of the Hydaspes is not devoid of controversy. Critics argue that Alexander's campaign, while impressive, was driven by an insatiable quest for conquest and domination, overlooking the immense human cost associated with his invasions. Moreover, some scholars contend that the defeat of Porus was not as absolute as historically depicted, suggesting that accounts of the battle may have been exaggerated to enhance Alexander's legend. This seminal encounter is deeply interwoven with other aspects of Alexander's conquests. It demonstrates his ability to adapt to new environments and challenges, influencing tactics in subsequent battles. Additionally, by choosing to halt further eastward expansion and turning back, this battle marks the transition from conquest to consolidation in Alexander's latter campaigns. In summary, the Battle of the Hydaspes was not merely a military engagement, but a defining moment that encapsulated the blend of warfare, diplomacy, and cross-cultural exchanges, shaping the historical legacy of Alexander the Great and the regions he influenced. The background and causes of the conflict refers to the historical context and driving factors that led to the Battle of the Hydaspes in 326 BCE, where Alexander the Great faced King Porus in India. This battle was a pivotal moment in Alexander's campaign of conquest, marking his first major encounter with the Indian subcontinent. Understanding the background is crucial as it sets the stage for why this battle occurred, its implications on Alexander's campaign, and its broader historical significance. Alexander's drive to expand his empire into India stemmed from both an insatiable ambition to conquer all known lands and the desire to replicate the feats of mythological heroes. The expansion into India represented the culmination of his vast conquests and also his quest to explore the exotic and mysterious lands to the east. One specific example illustrating this ambition is Alexander's prior victory over the Persian Empire, which imbued him with confidence and a sense of invincibility, encouraging further expansion. Another example is his establishment of numerous cities along the way, intended to consolidate his hold on newly conquered territories and spread Greek culture and influence. These actions were not only militaristic, but also culturally transformative. Historians often view this battle as a testament to Alexander's strategic genius, and willingness to face formidable challenges, as well as his adaptability when encountering diverse cultures and warfare tactics in unfamiliar terrains. However, the expansion into India faced both logistical challenges and resistance from local rulers, representing a significant test for Alexander's army. The difficult geography and climate, combined with the determined opposition from Indian rulers like King Porus, presented substantial obstacles. Controversy arises regarding Alexander's justification for the invasion, whether it was driven by genuine, strategic necessity or merely personal ambition for glory. Additionally, opinions diverge on the motives and consequences of such expansive campaigns, with some viewing them as acts of aggression and others as steps toward greater cultural integration and exchange. The battle's context influences subsequent aspects of Alexander's campaign by marking the easternmost extent of his conquests. Following the battle, his troops, weary and longing for home, eventually refused to march further, halting his expansion and signaling a turning point. The engagement with new territories and cultures, such as seen with King Porus, introduced Alexander's army and administration to a new level of diplomatic and cultural complexity, shaping subsequent interactions and policies in his empire. Understanding these factors enriches our comprehension of the Battle of the Hydaspes and Alexander's legacy. In discussing the Battle of the Hydaspes, it is critical to examine the military forces and strategies employed by Alexander the Great, as these were pivotal to his success against King Porus in 326 BCE. At the core, this involves Alexander's innovative use of combined arms tactics, which was a marriage of various military units, infantry, cavalry, and artillery, working cohesively to disrupt and dismantle enemy forces. This approach underscored his strategic prowess and adaptability, distinguishing his campaigns throughout his conquests, including in India. The significance of Alexander's military tactics at the Hydaspes lies in their transformative impact on ancient warfare. At the battle, Alexander employed cunning stratagems, particularly in exploiting the formidable force of his cavalry. He maneuvered across the treacherous river under the cover of night, launching a surprise attack that caught Porus off guard. His strategic placement of archers and cavalry in key positions allowed for flexible offensives and a decisive cavalry charge that ultimately fractured the enemy's elephant-backed infantry lines. This exemplifies Alexander's capacity to adapt his tactics to the terrain and conditions, a hallmark of his military genius and a reason for his undefeated status in battle. Real-world applications of these strategies can be seen in modern military doctrines that emphasize flexibility and maneuverability. The use of surprise tactics and the integration of different arms in Alexander's army laid foundational principles later seen in blitzkrieg strategies during World War II. Similarly, contemporary militaries often emphasize the importance of joint operations and coordinated efforts across branches. Taking cues from Alexander's combined arms approach, supporters of Alexander's strategies laud them for the foresight and tactical imagination they demonstrate. Yet there are potential challenges and controversies surrounding these tactics. Some critics argue that while successful, Alexander's strategies often relied on high-risk maneuvers, which could have led to catastrophic failures. Furthermore, his aggressive tactics occasionally led to high casualties within his ranks, sparking debate about their ethical dimensions and cost-effectiveness. These military strategies intertwine with other aspects of Alexander's campaign in India, influencing not only the outcome of the battle, but consolidating his status as a military visionary. They exemplified his understanding of psychological warfare through elements of surprise and demonstrated the logistical brilliance required to maintain supply lines in hostile territories. Recognizing these strategic intricacies allows us to appreciate how they resonate through military history, cementing Alexander's legacy as a formidable tactician whose innovations continue to inform contemporary warfare. King Porus and his defensive tactics play a pivotal role in the historical narrative of the Battle of the Hydaspes in 300 BCE, where Alexander the Great clashed with the formidable Indian ruler of the Paurava kingdom, King Porus. At the heart of this topic is the strategic brilliance and the formidable resistance posed by Porus, making it a significant point in the larger context of the battle. Significantly, King Porus's defensive tactics were crucial in presenting one of the toughest challenges faced by Alexander during his conquests. Porus leveraged the natural geography of his homeland, particularly the formidable Hydaspes River, to fortify his defenses. He deployed a well-structured army that included war elephants, a decision that not only underscored his strategic prowess, but also posed a unique challenge to Alexander's forces. These elephants, acting as massive living fortresses, were intended to intimidate and disrupt the phalanxes of the advancing Macedonian army. One apt illustration of Porus's defensive acumen is his decision to position the battle near the riverbanks, making it difficult for Alexander to cross without being noticed. Furthermore, Porus capitalized on the psychological aspect by lining up his elephants in a menacing display that aimed to terrify the Macedonian troops who were unaccustomed to such a spectacle. Another example is his effective use of archers and infantry, who were prepared to defend against initial Macedonian thrusts, thereby slowing Alexander's advance and allowing Porus to enact a war of attrition. Supportive opinions suggest that Porus's tactics were a model of indigenous resistance against a foreign invader, a testament to the courage and tactical innovation possible, even against a seasoned campaigner like Alexander. However, there are challenges and controversies surrounding the tactical decisions. Critics may point to certain vulnerabilities in Porus' deployment of elephants, as they eventually became uncontrollable and caused chaos within his own ranks during the fierce combat. These defensive tactics connect deeply to the broader themes of the battle, highlighting the clash of Greek and Indian military strategies and emphasizing the role of terrain and innovation in ancient warfare. Porus's approach influenced Alexander's tactics, necessitating his use of clever diversions and night maneuvers to successfully cross the Hydaspes, signifying the profound impact of Porus's resistance on the course of the battle. Thus, King Porus and his defensive tactics stand as a central facet in understanding not just the battle itself, but also the enduring legacy of innovative resistance in history.